Hello and welcome to this third episode of this 5-part series on the top 5 mistakes that users make when they're working with Photoshop. Probably one of the biggest things that I see people misunderstand is this idea of resolution when you're working in Photoshop. Photoshop is a bitmap or a raster program, which just means it's pixel based, and you do need to be aware of the size of your image in terms of how many pixels it contains when you're working in your Photoshop documents. A really important thing to consider is the intent of the document. Are you going to be printing this image or are you going to be using it online? If you're doing either of those, you'll need different resolutions for each intent. So we will have a look at the correct resolution to use for both, and where you can check the resolution, how you can change it, and how you may resize an image. Alright, let's dive right in. The two key things we're going to talk about in this tutorial is the difference between resizing an image and resampling. Essentially, resampling is about changing how many pixels there are in the image. Resizing, on the other hand, is about the physical size of the document when you're sending it to print. So let's take a look at the difference between the two underneath the image size menu item. We can get to that by coming up to Image and scrolling down to Image Size to open up that window. And here I have the pixel dimensions in the top section and then the document size in the section below. So this pixel dimensions area gives us the physical amount of pixels there are in the width and height of the image. You can think of this as being sort of like the web area or the screen resolution area of your image. And then underneath that in the document size, this more relates to your print options. So basically, if you're taking this image into a document like InDesign, this document size area is where you want to be looking to see that it is the right resolution for print and the right size for which you need to use it in your print document. So when we're talking about preparing images for print, the ideal resolution for print work is 300 pixels per inch. So looking at this document, we have a document that's currently set at 200 pixels per inch. So over a given inch, there are 200 pixels when it is sitting at 16 inches by 10 inches. Now you can change these increments over here, and I will change this to centimeters. And so now looking at this, if I was to send this to print, it would print at 40 centimeters roughly by 27 centimeters at a resolution of 200. Now I know that 200 pixels per inch isn't quite high enough resolution, especially when we're working with a nice glossy stock like in a brochure. So what I'm going to do is increase the resolution of this image, and in doing that it will tell me what is the optimum size, or what's the largest that I can use this image when I place it into InDesign. So before I change this resolution, what I'm going to do is make sure that down here where we have resample is not ticked. And so what I'll do is come across, click on 300, my ideal resolution, and as you can see, I've now got a width of 27 by 18 centimeters. So what that's telling me is if I'm going to use this in a print document, I can't use it any larger than 27 by 18 centimeters in size. If I do, then it may turn out blurry or pixelated. Now you'll notice when I did that up in this pixel dimensions area, the size of the file still stayed the same, and also so did the width and the height in the pixels. So if I wanted to resample the file, that is, if I wanted to reduce the physical size or increase the physical size of the file, I can do that by coming down and clicking on this resample button. So when I click on resample, you'll notice that up the top here, now I do have the ability to change the width and height from within this area. And so basically I'm able to increase or decrease the amount of pixels within this image. So let's just say I wanted to maybe prepare it for web. If I'm going to use this image online, it doesn't need to be anywhere near as high as 300 pixels per inch. In fact, I can bring it down to 72 pixels per inch. So if I do that from here, I'm just going to put in 72. Now, as you can see up here in the pixel dimensions in this top part, it has changed now, and you can see the new size of this file at 1.13 megabytes, significantly smaller than the 19.5 megabytes that it was prior. Now underneath this resampling at the bottom here, I've also got the option to change what sort of resample mode I want to be in. So basically with reducing, I want to choose the bicubic sharper results when you're reducing. So if I click on that one there, it's going to give me the optimum results for when I reduce files for web. So that's the key difference between resampling and resizing. If I untick resample, resampling doesn't change the physical size, how many pixels there are in the width and the height, whereas resampling does. When I turn resampling on, I'm able to change how many pixels there are in the width and height, so it will reduce or increase the physical size of the file. So hopefully that gives you a clearer understanding of how you can resize or resample your files in Photoshop, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Photoshop tutorial.